All right, so to continue our lesson on simplifying with powers, our directions are telling us to simplify, and we can assume that no variable equals 0. Okay, because if a variable is going to be 0, 0 to any power is always 0. And we would also have to be careful because if the variable is 0 and it's in the denominator, we're not allowed to divide by 0. So we wouldn't actually be able to simplify that. So this is actually a very important statement to know when we are simplifying. Okay, now if we look at our first problem, this is a multiplication one. We don't have any pluses or minuses in our parentheses, so that means that we're allowed to take the fourth power to each term. Okay. Now again, you have to be careful when we're doing this because everything is still in parentheses. So this is -2 to the fourth power times x cubed to the fourth power times y squared to the fourth power. Okay. So when we simplify this one, because we're taking a negative to an even power, it should still be positive, or it will become positive when we simplify. So -2 times itself 4 times is going to be 16. And then here we're multiplying, so 3 times 4 is 12. And again multiplying, so 2 times 4 is 8. So this would be our final simplified answer. Next one, we're dividing, so that means that we are going to subtract the powers. And we only subtract the ones with the same base, and kind of the shortcut rule is we always subtract the bigger number, like bigger number minus a smaller number, and we put our answer where the bigger number was. So when we're looking at our A's, we would take 7 minus 2, and because 7 is larger and it's in the denominator, our simplified answer is going to be in the denominator. So 7 minus 2 is 5, so we're going to have a to the 5th power in the bottom part of the fraction. Okay. So again, same base, so 4 minus 3 is 1, and we don't write the power of 1, we just assume that it's there. Larger number is in the numerator, so that's where the simplified answer goes. Nothing more that we can do to simplify, so this is the final answer. All right, so again, looking at this, we have no pluses or minuses, so we're distributing this power into everything. So this is really asking us to take -2 cubed times a to the 4th cubed over b squared cubed. Okay. So -2 times itself 3 times is -8. Here we're multiplying our powers, so 4 times 3 is 12, and then 2 times 3 is 6. Nothing more that we can do to simplify, so that is our final answer. All right. Fourth problem. So again, looking at this, we have to follow order of operations. So that means that we need to simplify this group first because it has an exponent, and then we take this answer times that first group. Okay, so I'm just going to start by rewriting. So the 3x squared. Okay, in our second group, again, we're distributing that power to each piece. So this is really the same thing as saying -2 cubed and then y to the 4th cubed. Okay. So 3x squared still, and then we would have -2 cubed, so that's -8, and then this we're multiplying, so 4 times 3 is 12, and then now we continue to simplify. So 3 times -8 is -24. X squared times y to the 12th, since we have different bases, we can't add the exponents. So we would still have x squared and then y to the 12th. Nothing more that we can do to simplify, so that is our final answer. All right, next one. So again, when we're looking at that, if we wanted to, we could take 3 squared, which is 9, and then 3 to the 5th to get that number, and multiply those answers together. But sometimes when you have a bigger base, so let's say we were working with like 11 or 12, as soon as we start taking that number to a power, it gets really large very quickly. So we still want to apply our power rules. So since we're multiplying with the same base, I'm going to still add those exponents together. So this would be the same thing as 3 to the 7th power. And then if you type that into your calculator, so your graphing calculator, if it's a relatively small number, so something less than 10,000, then we would write that out. So 3 to the 7th would be 2,187. So and this would be our final answer. But let's say we had 13 squared plus 13 to the 5th power. So if we add those, we would have 13 to the 7th. So again, just to see what kind of number you have, if you type that into your calculator, we have, let's see, it looks like it's in the millions. So instead of writing it, we are just going to leave it like this. Okay? So usually kind of the general rule of thumb, if the number is going to be less than 10,000, we write it out. If it's bigger than 10,000, we're going to leave it as an exponent. All right, and last example for this set. So again, we have something to the 0 power, but again, we have to make sure that we're paying attention. So this really means -1 times 13 to the 0 power. So 13 to the 0 power would simplify to be 1, but then we have to multiply that back to the -1. So -1 times 1 is -1, and that would be our final simplified answer for that one.